I'm walking away from my family forever. I'm leaving my family, and I'm typing this with a mix of fear and nerves. I'm 22 years old, the youngest of 5 kids, and my parents are deeply religious. We live in Utah, and growing up, everything had to be perfect, whether it was grades, appearance, social activities, or even the friends we kept. But I've always been different from my siblings. They were all into math and science, while I was drawn to writing and painting. I remember when I was 13, I painted a dove in a snowy field and won first place in a competition. When I told my parents, they were furious, saying I'd wasted my time on something so worthless when I should have been studying. It didn't matter that I had straight A's in every class. My mother barely speaks to me, always seeming like she hates me, and I don't understand why. My father burned my painting to remind me of what was truly important, and took away all my art supplies until I could prove I was responsible with my time. It's been like this for as long as I can remember. I've worked full-time since I was 15 at McDonald's, saving every bit of money I could. But my father took half of my checks as tithing, saying it was to teach me what being an adult was like. When I applied to several colleges, my parents refused to help with tuition, unlike with my siblings. They said sending me to college would be a waste of money, and I got angry. I'm so tired of being the black sheep just because I love the arts more than math and science. Then, one night, I overheard them talking about the perfect man they found through our church, someone who was willing to take me. I'm terrified, so I'm leaving. I've saved up a good amount of money, found a remote job doing freelance design work, and I've had my passport since I was a kid because of our family vacations overseas. I'm taking nothing but a change of clothes, my laptop, and important documents I took from my father's office. I've booked a flight that leaves in 5 hours, and I'm never coming back. I'm not even going to take my phone since I need a new number anyway. My best friend, God bless her, has been the one handling all the bookings and preparations so I wouldn't tip off my parents. She's also smuggled some of my more important belongings that I can't take with me, and she'll hold on to them for now. She's parked down the street, and I'll leave with just my smallest suitcase to meet her. I don't know how my parents will react to this. I'm terrified they'll find a way to drag me back or track me down. They went to bed over an hour ago, but I'm too anxious to sleep. I don't know if I'll have any updates, but I just hope they don't stop me. Update. Wow. So much has been happening lately that I've barely had time to catch my breath. Let me start with the good news before moving on to the less pleasant parts. First, I've been advised not to share my exact location, so all I'll say is that I'm in South Africa right now, and it's incredible. The food here is amazing, and someone recommended I try bunny chow, which is an authentic curry served in a bread bowl. It was phenomenal. I've also made a new friend, one of the hotel staff who's around my age. We really hit it off, and she took me to a local shopping center to get some new clothes. I'm used to wearing dresses, so that didn't bother me, but these are much more lightweight and breathable than anything I had back home. She also gave me a tip to always shake out my shoes in the morning, just in case. I've started apartment hunting, and it's shockingly affordable, like jaw-droppingly cheap compared to how expensive it is in the US. I found a studio apartment with a loft and kitchenette for just $81 a month. It's strange to be looking for a place on my own since I've always lived with my parents, but housing won't be an issue here. Now, on to the less pleasant parts. I finally opened the emails from my parents, deciding it was best to get it over with. My father's email was filled with anger. There's no other way to describe it. He said that by taking off irresponsibly like I did, I cost them the friendship of someone they planned on introducing me to, though he never admitted that it was the 53-year-old man they had basically sold me to. My father went on to say that because of the social relations damaged by my actions, I owe them approximately $85,000 in reparations. He also claimed that if I don't pay it in full within 30 days and return home, he will take me to court, stating that I obviously cannot be trusted. I plan to ignore that. I believe he's bluffing. He ended his email with a rant, saying, "You belonged to me, and I won't tolerate such defiance when we've put a roof over your head and taken care of you for your entire life. You were never the child we expected. It's time you make up for your deficiencies. I expect you home within the next 2 weeks." Yeah, no. My siblings sent emails that were basically copies of my father's, admonishing me for throwing our parents' efforts in their faces and running off like a coward, unwilling to face the fallout of my actions. I skimmed through them before just deleting them. It was nothing I didn't expect. However, my sister-in-law, who's married to my eldest brother, sent her own email. She asked me not to reply, saying she would be deleting every sign that she sent it from her end. In her email, she congratulated me on stepping out on my own and getting away from my parents and their demands. She confessed that she hadn't been strong-willed enough to stand up to her own parents when they basically betrothed her to my brother, which makes sense. I remember they met and married within 6 months, and even then I thought that was a bit strange. She pleaded with me not to return and not to reply. That was it. It was a bit unnerving, honestly, because I do believe her, and it saddens me that she's stuck in the situation she's in. The last email was from my best friend. She told me that the morning after I flew out, my parents showed up at her doorstep, demanding to see me. Apparently, they believed I was hiding out with her. They refused to leave, screaming for me to stop pretending I wasn't there. It caused such a scene that the police were called, but they only talked to my parents briefly and then let them go, which really angered my friend. She had wanted them arrested for making threats and trespassing. The police claimed there wasn't a pattern of behavior that would warrant an arrest or charges, and then they just left. My friend didn't know when my parents finally realized I wasn't at her house, but thankfully, they didn't come back. However, word has spread about me fleeing the safety of my parents' home, and they've been telling everyone that they're concerned and fearful for me, out on the streets alone. The church ward even organized searches in the area, trying to find me. I don't know what they'll do next, but they have no idea that I've left the country, let alone the state. My friend has no plans to say anything, and neither do I. As far as I'm concerned, they can live in that state of uncertainty for the rest of eternity. I don't think I'll renounce my U.S. citizenship, as there may come a day when I need it, and it's better to be safe than sorry. But I do plan to gain dual citizenship as soon as I'm able. That's it for now. No other updates yet, but if anything changes, I'll let you know. I want to thank you all for your comments and private messages. It feels like I have friends and family on my side, and I can't tell you how much that means to me. Truly, thank you, all of you. Update. With all the comments and questions, I thought I'd answer here and explain what's happened since my last post. Ironically, my use of maths instead of just math comes from my mother, who is British. She met my father in England when they were 22. So I come by it naturally, and my siblings say it that way too. Thanks for pointing out the Teach Tea videos broadcasting my story, though I have no idea why they changed my name. I reported them, but we'll have to see if they ever pull the videos down or at least edit them. Some people have questioned why I chose South Africa, specifically Johannesburg, considering how dangerous it can be. I understand the risks, but there's nowhere on this planet that's inherently danger-free. Africa is massive and incredibly diverse, so finding someone here would be very difficult. Because those videos got so much attention, I've left Johannesburg, unfortunately, and I'm now very far from there, though still in Africa. The area I'm in now is incredibly safe and came highly recommended by several people. Settling here will be very comfortable, and the people are wonderful. I might even attend a university here and get a degree. I haven't replied to the emails from my family, but I've saved them, printed copies, and even laminated them, just in case. I'm definitely not renouncing my U.S. citizenship, and my passport is good for another 8 years. I don't hate religion, no matter what it is. In my eyes, a person's relationship with God is incredibly personal. Whether someone connects with him through camping, long walks, drives listening to music, acts of service, or anything else, that's their choice. And it's just as valid as sitting in a pew, possibly more so if they're honest with themselves, instead of just putting on a facade for the public. I plan on ignoring any further emails from my family, other than printing them out for safekeeping. I've made several phone calls to my friend, who's had some fun with the situation. The first time my father called her, yelling that she needed to hand me over, she pretended to be intimidated and gave him a location. It led him to a strip club. He came back furious, screaming about how she had embarrassed him. I just hung up on him. Honestly, she did that every time they called, giving them a different fake location each time. Her favorite was when she sent my parents to a nudist retreat. Apparently, my mother passed out. My friend is planning to move eventually and hopes to join me, but she'll be jumping around a bit first so they don't track her to me. I finally read my uncle's email, but it was just a copy of my father's, with the added comment that he and his fellow cops would be looking for me to bring me home safe before I got myself into trouble and got hurt. I'm being watchful and cautious, making sure to avoid dark alleyways and abandoned places. That's all I've got for now. If anything changes, I'll let you all know. It's heartwarming to see and read how many people are on my side and in my corner. I've actually started printing out everyone's messages and comments to put in a binder so I can look back on them later. Truly, thank you all. I mean it. A relevant comment from the original post about being forced to marry, even though I'm an adult, through pressure from the local church ward. It's easier to move on when I don't have them standing over me, forcing their choices on me instead of letting me make my own. Honestly, I don't know if I'd be strong-willed enough to stand up to my father in person just yet. Maybe one day in the future when I know who I am outside of what I've been forced to be. Update. Hello, everyone. It's been a while since my last update, and a few things have happened. My friend insisted I share, since everyone is still clearly rooting for me. I've settled in a bit here, and am now dealing with the fun of paperwork. Oh, so much paperwork. But I've secured an apartment. It's 2 bedrooms. One is for my friend when she comes to join me. I've made a few acquaintances here locally, and am beginning to stand on my own a bit. My biggest challenge has been feeling uncomfortable because I don't know all the unspoken rules the way I did in the US. I'm constantly second-guessing myself, but hopefully, that will fade with time. As for my family, they've learned that I left the state. How they figured it out is beyond me. I'm not sure how they figured it out, but they seem convinced that I'm still in the continental US. My friend, who works as a cartoonist, doesn't make a ton of money, but earns more than enough to live comfortably. She's getting ready to leave herself and decided to send my parents a farewell gift, something she didn't tell me about until just recently. She spent a few hours carefully drawing my parents as they visited each fake location she sent them to, capturing their reactions in each scene. She ended each one with the phrase, "A beta beta bade. That's all, folks." I've never seen Looney Tunes, but she explained that she portrayed my dad as something similar to a coyote. I'm still not 100% sure what that means, but she said everyone else would get it, and then ordered me to watch it. Maybe one day. She plans to join me around October 9th after doing some country hopping to throw them off her trail. All the things she hasn't sold are in a secured storage unit, including the items she's been holding for me. The biggest revelation came after my father apparently had a meltdown. After I didn't respond to him, he got into a fight with my mother at church, and many things were said. According to several sources, my father revealed that my mother had cheated on him, which led to my birth. This, it seems, is why she never liked me. I reminded her of her mistakes. My father took her back despite everything, but there it is. It caused a big stir in the ward, and meetings were held, though I obviously don't know what was said or done. I may never know, honestly. I'm trying to move on and am even contemplating getting a tattoo. Part of me really wants to, while another part thinks that if I change enough, my father might not want me if he ever finds me. That's all for now. I'm not sure if I'll have anything else to share, but if anything happens, I'll let you all know.